and it could have been written yesterday. It's full of biting political satire that's lost none of its edge. It's full of hilarity, jokes. And it's written by somebody who you're not expecting, somebody whose name you know very, very well from a totally different context, and is usually given a tragedy. And one such book is Utopia by Thomas More, possibly the funniest and most biting satire ever written. I'm only doing the first book. We're not going to get to Utopia. Did I ever tell you about my friend Raphael and his fascinating many traveller's tales? No? And did I ever tell you, Thomas, about the time I was in the Southern Ocean and it rained so hard? Yes, it rained so hard it split your iron hat. I think you might have mentioned it. All right, did I ever then tell you about the time I went fishing in the Eastern Ocean and a great trout the size of a boat leapt out? Yes. And you fried it and ate it with a root vegetable and called it Bubble and Squeak. It's not going to catch on. It is a wonder to me, Raphael, that you have not found your way to the court of a king. You could be his most prized advisor or jester. No, that wouldn't do at all. I was once in England. Never again. Iniquitous country, rained all the time. Anyway, I was once in the court of Cardinal Pole. He's a personal friend of mine. Yes, and I was talking to him when a lawyer chap came in and said, "It is a wonder to me there are any left." And of course the Cardinal said, "What, who do you mean?" "It is thieves. I've just hung 200. And last month I hung 200 more. Where are they all coming from?" And I pipe up and I say, "Well, I thought the main point of British society was to manufacture thieves." "What do you mean, sir?" "Well, even ignoring the way you treat your many warriors, the way you dump them on the streets, the way you don't look after them, even ignoring that, well, we're doing something about that, even ignoring it, the cult of hero that surrounds them, a cult that rewards people for not doing very much, that keeps them rewarded, creates thieves. Because everybody looks at these over-rewarded and looks at their own money and how they've got nothing. What else are they going to be? Well, just as well we've got the laws to protect us. Have you any other reason why we have thieves?" "Oh yes, sir. That's not the real reason. The real reason is something you could do something about." "Well, just tell me. What could I do?" "Do you want to know what really creates thieves in our society? It's sheep." "What? I own more sheep than anyone in England." "Yes, I know, sir. But think what those sheep do. Think of all the villages, all the villagers who've been driven out of their land because you own the land and you need to graze on it. Think of that, sir. Think of how the misery you've created to earn your money. That's the cost of your sheep, sir. And where are those people now? Well, they could get trades. Well, it might. Knowledge. Trades take a long time to train for and a lot of money. They can't. And not all of them. No. What else can they be but thieves? Well, have you got a better idea than just hanging them? I mean, that seems reasonable to me." "No, don't you see? Hanging people just creates more thieves. You hang a mother, you create a thief out of all these children, sir. No, that is not a good way to create with thieves. I was once near Persia, a land nowhere place here, it was called, and they took their thieves and they put them in schools, and they gave them trades, and they made them work for their living. They made them repair what they had done. And it was a very successful policy. In the end, they ran out of thieves and had to import them from next door. Well, it will never catch on here. No, it will not. And do you know what? They threw me out then and there. And that told me that nobody likes sensible advice. Just imagine it. If I was in the court of the King of France, and they were all talking about war, and the Duke of Nevers said, "No, I want to invade Norway. I fancy skiing." And the Duke of Brittany said, No, we want to go south. It's sunny down south. Let's invade Portugal." And the Duke of Mayenne said, "No, I like chocolate. Let's invade Switzerland." And I'll pipe up and say, No, sire. You want to invade none of these places. Strikes me, France isn't very well governed. You won't make it better by invading somewhere else. Not at all. You've got to manage the kingdom that you have. Kingdoms are not your own personal plaything. And I proceeded to tell him about somewhere I met in my travels. Somewhere quite close to Utopia. Nowhere in particular. Where the king managed to inherit the neighbouring kingdom, next place here. And although he was a good king and did his best, in the end his citizens came to him and said, "Sire, you were better when you only governed one land. Can you choose between us? Do you think I'd escape with my head if I gave him that advice? Or another time, suppose they were on the great matter of currency, and the Duke of Alençon stood up and said, let us devalue the currency. And then the Duke of Poitiers said, no, let us tax food. And the Duke of Orleans said, no, 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 that is a progressive taxation. It taxes us fat, rich people more. Let us tax breathing. That would be fair at least. And the Duke of Provence said, no. Well, I don't like this talk about taxes. Let us fine the poor. Let us make poverty a finable offence. And then they turn to me and ask me. And I'll say, sire, I don't think it's your job to tax your people and rob them. I think your job is to govern them. The best place I found, apart from Utopia, was Happy Land. And there they made the king only have 100 ducats. If he earned more, he was executed. And so you can be sure he kept the money going around the state. That, I think, is the best policy. I don't think I'd live at all, do you? But I'll tell you what's really wrong with Britain if you like more. Well, I know you're going to tell me. It is private property. What? What's wrong with private property? A man should own his own toothbrush. Of course he should. I don't mind you owning your toothbrush or your knife, but why do you own all of Lincolnshire? What possible gain do you have by it? Think of what you do with that land. You've got no use for it, you can't visit it. Rather, you treat it as an income. You throw all the people out, or you tax them. You use it to build your magnificent palaces. You create misery. More than that, think what has to follow from you owning so much. All the laws that follow, all the armies that enforce those laws, and all the war that follows, and all the misery. I tell you more. You will not have happiness this side of the world as long as you have private property. But I don't expect you to believe me. You have never been to Utopia, Thomas. Come now with me. Come to Utopia. The second half of the trial.